Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. Russia, Saudi Arabia, what a way to kick off the World Cup. Who would get the edge in Group A? Would it be the host? Would Saudi Arabia shock the world? Don't worry, here are the interviews. We've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, we're going to break down Russia against Saudi Arabia. So Russia against Saudi Arabia, World Cup opener, not the most compelling match, but an important match in Group A. Everyone has Uruguay pegged to win the group, but who will finish in second? And what if Uruguay slip up? Which one of these sides would look to take over and possibly win the group? If they were going to do it, they were going to have to win this game. We look at Russia, 4-4-2, could be a 4-2-3-1. Smolov just ahead as Zagoev. On the flank, Samedov and Golovin, and midfield, Gazinski and Zobanin. What we think about Saudi Arabia, 4-5-1, possibly was supposed to be a 4-3-3, worked out to be a 4-5-1. Up front, Al-Salawi. On the flanks, Al-Dosari and Al-Sheri. In midfield, Al-Faraj and Al-Yassim ahead of Otaif. What went right? What went wrong? Well, the first thing we definitely have to talk about is Alan Zagoev, supposed to be the Russian breakout star for so many years, but he's battled with injuries. This was a great opportunity to show the world what he was made out of. However, he did do that in a small portion, but his tournament could be over due to what looks to be a hamstring injury. But before that, he was doing everything for Russia in the sense that when we have him here, without the ball, you have to think about how important it is for a number 10 nowadays. You have to stop the deep-lying playmaker. He was doing that for Russia, stopping Otaif from getting on the ball. That really helped Russia prevent Saudi Arabia from doing anything because they stopped him from getting on the ball. Otaif is the player that sits deepest. He circulates the ball. He keeps the balance in midfield. And with that being said, what happened was that Russia was able to man-mark everyone else when they were pressing a bit higher, and that forced the ball back to the center backs. The weak point on the Saudi Arabian side, the center backs. Not too good when they have to defend against an opponent, not too good when they're on the ball. They struggled there. They made a few mistakes. Otaif was not able to set the tempo of the game, and that really helped Russia because this Saudi Arabian side, their midfield, for all the slack that they may take after this result, is very good with the ball. Technical players that can break through if they're given time and space. That wasn't the case here. On the other end of the stick was that Otaif couldn't really stop Zagoev from getting forward. It's possible because his positioning was so off. There were times when he was playing just level with Smolov. There was times where he's playing just off him, getting long balls, getting what was left of it when Smolov played it off to him, and vice versa. And there were times where he's just finding little pockets of spaces between the lines to get on the ball. That was pivotal here. That's what he was doing. He created 2 quality chances in the first half prior to the goal. He was the key player throughout, and you have to think, what were Russian fans thinking when he got hurt? Because that was obviously a key moment in the game. It changed the outcome of the game, but it didn't change the outcome of the game, but it did change the pattern of the game, and that was a key moment. So he was out of the tournament, he was out of the game, and what happened there was they were forced to make a change. Cheryshev came in, moved to the left, that pushed Golovin just in behind, and with Golovin, it's a bit different. He's more of a midfielder, doesn't have the incisive passing that Zagoev has, won't play that final ball, wasn't really looking to get into space between the lines there, wasn't able to. He did play a key part in the game. He did contribute to the second goal. He did contribute to the third goal as well. He ended up scoring a goal as well. So when you think about his overall performance, he will steal the headlines, but this did change the outcome of the game. Prior to that, what happened was that they were getting a lot of joy with Samedov playing his role there. They had Fernandez, who was the right back, getting forward on a lot of occasions. He was pivotal. He was making the overlapping run. He was getting the ball in half spaces, pulling it back, creating chances. And even if he wasn't doing that, just him getting forward was allowing Samedov and then Zobanin, who played there in the second half, chances to cut in, and that created space for them. He was pivotal throughout. He worked hard, and that was a key area that Saudi Arabia didn't shut down. Al-Dosari didn't do a good job. There was Al-Sheri, although he wasn't influential on the offensive end, what he did do was stop Yuri Zhirkov from really getting forward down that left-hand side and creating havoc. But that was where Russia really got going. Smolov's movement was good. The midfield had time on the ball. They were playing a bit deeper. but they did have time on the ball to kind of circulate possession. Nothing really incisive or penetrative, but Russia were in full control when you look at the first half. The other aspect that really changed the first half was Cheryshev coming in. What happened was that now they had a direct winger coming down the left-hand side, and what happens is that why that was so pivotal was the fact that the Saudi Arabian fullbacks like to get high at times, and we'll get to that in a second. They push so much further than the wingers, and the wingers drop deeper. It was a bit odd. It didn't really help their balance overall going forward, but it left space in behind. There was times when he was able to drive down the flank behind the fullback in that space in the left channel. There's one time where he dispossessed Al-Shirawi and broke forward. The problem with Cheryshev was the fact that he wasn't able to deliver that final ball, that final cross. He struggled. I know he did score the second goal, and he did score a great goal in the second half, but that is a key area that Russia will want to improve in their next game, because although he did score those goals, he's going to need to be better from a production aspect down the left, because he did get into good positions, he did get into 1v1 positions, but he wasn't able to execute, and that could be crucial as they go on in the tournament. But that's what Russia did very well in the first half. The other aspect was the fact that when they weren't pressing high, when they weren't shutting down that space, you have to think that they struggled as well. The problem here was that this is how Saudi Arabia pressed them. They had the forward they had Al-Salawi pushing forward. They were able to push Al-Faraj with them when they ignited the press. And what happened there was that because they had a numerical advantage in midfield, they were able to push men forward and stop balls from going through the midfield. The problem was with Russia, they're able to play balls into Zaguev, who was able to win long balls or aerial duels. They're able to play into small lob. If they want to put it into the channels, they were able to put the ball into the channels. Saudi Arabia didn't have that option. Al-Salawi isn't that player. And it's a bit odd that still at this time, Al-Mawalad was not given a chance to play in this game, just based on the fact that he is that willing runner. He likes to get in behind the lines. He likes to run into the channels. Al-Salawi wasn't doing that, and it was a field day for the Russian defense, and that was obviously a big issue for Saudi Arabia. The other aspect was the fact when Russia did drop deeper into a 4-4-2, when they didn't have the ball, 2 banks of 4, it was very simple for them. This is how they really broke it down. This is how it was. They're able to sit a bit narrow. They had men with Otave. The problem is that Al-Salawi's sitting there up front, not looking to stretch the line, looking to drop deeper. They had the fullbacks forward, obviously. Al-Shirawi not really doing much, and he is the linchpin. He likes to get balls in between the lines during qualifying and friendlies. He's their key player, making darting runs behind the defense, making late runs into the box. He wasn't doing that, and when he did get on the ball and there was a bit of pressure there, he was sloppy in possession. That was a big problem there. And then you look at the midfield. Everything here is very tight. It's very narrow. No one is getting in behind the lines. No one is getting behind the Russian defense. No one's looking to stretch that line. And that was the big problem there for Saudi Arabia. Everything was playing in front of Russia. They sat narrow. They kept their base shape. They worked hard. The wide players shut down the full backs. The front men did work hard. They shut down Otave, stopped him from getting on the ball. They pressed the center backs and forced them into errors when they had to, and it was very easy for Russia, but they still had to do it, and that's why it was so key. And when you look at the second half, they were still able to play balls into Smolov, set him free. Eventually, Otave came off. Saudi Arabia brought on Al-Mawalad, moved to a 4-4-2, but it was already too late. Changes were made for Russia as well. Zolbanin moved forward. We saw Zuba come on for Smolov. He offered a different element, playing up front. He scored a header within seconds of coming on. Golovin picked out the cross. The aerial battle again was key, and he is a key man around that box, and he made the difference scoring that goal. And then you look at the fourth goal, again, it's him again. Coming from nothing, a simple punt from a free kick in their half. Zuba nods it down into the path of Cheryshev, and he scores a superb goal. But that was Russia in a nutshell. They were great without the ball. They pressed effectively and stopped Otave from getting onto it. They had the threat on the counterattack. They had a bit of variety that when they were pressed, they were able to play long balls out. And again, even though they missed their key player, they had a direct threat down the left, and eventually they kind of exploited what Saudi Arabia aren't very good at. They pushed their fullbacks forward, exploited the channels. They exploited their center backs with aerial battles, and they won that duel as well. And Russia were deserved winners. Sure, the scoreline doesn't really do Saudi Arabia any justice, but they weren't that good on the night, and Russia made them pay. But let me know what you guys think. Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.